It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
The Trump White House and the Pentagon has some major leaks, and it's putting our country at risk. A big part of the reason why it puts us at risk is because the treasonous media is taking the leaked phone calls made to the President of the United States and publishing the contents of those calls because they think they can hide behind the First Amendment. As for leakers, they know that even if they get caught, prosecuted, and convicted, an Obama-appointed left-wing judge just might let them off with a slap on the wrist. The leaks coming out of the Trump White House are treasonous, folks, and we have to stop them. But it won't stop until there are real penalties for this type of espionage. Civilian leakers need to be treated just like military leakers, and that way they'll know it will be a life-altering penalty if they steal recordings of the president's phone calls and run to the New York Times. Today, I'll tell you how we are working to change the laws to crack down on these traitors leaking classified information to the press, and I'll also let you know how you can help make that happen. But first, let's listen to President Trump talking about the problem at a press conference with the fake news media just last week. Take a look.
So I'm dealing with Mexico. I'm dealing with Argentina. We were dealing on this case with Mike Flynn. All this information gets put into the Washington Post and gets put into the New York Times. And I'm saying, what's going to happen when I'm dealing on the Middle East? What's going to happen when I'm dealing with really, really important subjects like North Korea? We got to stop it. That's why it's a criminal penalty.
The president's correct. There is a criminal penalty for leaks like this. But what does it amount to? Not much, as you'll see in just a moment. So far, the press has leaked phone calls between President Trump and the presidents of Mexico and Australia, and also the content of Mike Flynn's discussions with the Russian ambassador, which I am of full faith of belief that will be ultimately proven totally innocent. You know, this is really unprecedented, folks. To leak private phone calls between heads of state to the media. That has never happened in America before. In fact, Richard Nixon resigned to avoid impeachment after he was caught taping recorded conversations of his political enemies. So that comes close, but it was a long time ago and doesn't match this in severity. We've never before had private conversations like this leaked, ever. The reason why the Clinton and Obama supporters in the White House and the Pentagon are doing it is one reason and only one reason: to undermine President Trump. Why would any other world leader now call up the president if that leader knew his or her conversation with the president would be printed by the New York Times the very next morning? Have a private conversation, open up the paper, there you are. Think about that. This leaking now is going on, and it's going to destroy us, not just the office of the president, but the country as a whole. Republicans in Congress are calling for investigation into the leak. Well, so what? Big deal. What's an investigation going to do? Prove somebody's leaking? Let's go find the culprits. Let's find them now. We need more than an investigation. We need current espionage and spying laws enforced. And if inadequate, those laws should be augmented so that there is a real punishment when one of these card-carrying Democrats leaks classified information to the media to try to hurt the United States of America and President Trump. And the president raised a very good point in that clip that I played earlier. What happens when the leakers deliver military plans to the press? Obama stupidly told the world, and therefore ISIS, that he was going to send the military in to attack ISIS's stronghold in Mosul, Iraq, and he did that several months ahead of time. You know, he got hundreds, if not thousands of people killed because ISIS then had 4 months of advanced knowledge not only when the U.S. was going to attack ISIS, but also where. Most military men would say that this is, can you believe the stupidity of Obama? I couldn't. But you know, I think it's even worse than that. I think Obama is a full card-carrying member of the Muslim Brotherhood, and he leaked that information intentionally to give his brother Muslims 4 months advance warning. Why else would he be funding the ISIS, which has been proven numerous times? Why else would he be fomenting revolution against Assad? Now, when Trump comes into office, we're trying to keep Assad in office. Well, the reason was that Assad wasn't the right kind of a Muslim to make Obama happy. So, just judging by Mosul, it's plain and simple to see why it's important to keep the president's communications secret. Donald Trump doesn't want to announce attack plans ahead of time if there's going to be a military strike. Who would except a traitor or an idiot? So that puts you in a very firm place of what I believe Obama is, either a traitor or an idiot. In his case, I think it's both. Now listen to this. You might think that leaking classified information is taken seriously, but you'd be wrong. Here are some of the most high-profile leakers during Obama's time in office and what happened to them. Former CIA Director and General David Petraeus. Well, he received 2 years probation and a $100,000 fine. For a multimillionaire, what's that? Chump change. Thomas Drake at the NSA. He received 1 year of probation and 240 hours of community service for exceeding unauthorized access of a classified computer. A major crime. Stephen Kim, an arms expert at the State Department. He got 13 months in prison for sharing a classified report on North Korea with a Fox News reporter. How could you be so dumb? Then there's the case of former CIA officer John Curacao. He disclosed the identity of an undercover CIA agent, and the judge gave him only 2 years in prison. You can disclose a spy, a super spy for the CIA, and get away with 2 years in a federal camp. That is a bunch of malarkey. Well, so you can see drunk drivers get stiffer jail sentence than a lot of the people who commit acts of espionage and spying for the enemy here in the United States. Let's face it, those sentences are a slap on the wrist for a crime that used to carry the death penalty in the United States. The military still takes leaking classified information much more seriously, and that's a good thing. If you remember Bradley Manning, the Army private who leaked classified military secrets to WikiLeaks, well, the judge threw him in prison for 35 years. 35 years. That was most of his adult life. And if it weren't Barack Obama's unhealthy fascination with transgendered men, Manning, I believe, would still be in prison there for the most of his adult life. Bradley Manning decided to put on a dress and call himself a girl, and well, Barack Obama couldn't resist that siren song, so he pardoned Bradley. If the leakers at the White House and the Pentagon were facing 35 years in prison for recording President Trump's phone calls, I'll bet they'd think twice before running to the New York Times. That's why we need to change the law. And let me explain to you now how we can do it. Civilian spies need to face criminal penalties that are just as severe as the penalties that people in the military receive. Well, you want to know how you can help? Here's how you can do it. You can go to our action page today. From there, you can send personalized letters directly to the House Judiciary Committee asking for an amendment to the sentencing guidelines for espionage and leaking classified information. Our letters are personalized because you can edit our suggested text to say anything you like. We do not edit anyone's writing. The liberal judges in the federal courts will not throw the books at leakers unless we force them to. And this is how America can force the courts to lock up the spies and saboteurs for long periods of time. Just bring the already existing federal sentencing guidelines into line with what the military does. Simple. Stay tuned because Bob Mallory will have instructions on the next screen describing how to get to our action page and send your personalized letter to Congress demanding action and action now. Do you remember back probably 25 years when there was a drunk driving case and a little girl was killed by a drunk driver and they had Mothers Against Drunk Driving mad? Well, you know, Americans need to rejuvenate that excitement. Get back that emotion. Our country is worth protecting. We need to have a new group in this country, and it could well be named MAD. And that would be Mothers Against Demons Who Are Dealing with Our Secrets. And that's the end of that story. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many, many blessings.
If If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program and send personal letters to Congress. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.